Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Monday Minute. Hi, this is Ken Freeman, and again I'm here to share with you about a very special issue that I think is important to every center director. What I have for you today is about what I've been hearing as I've called the centers up in Maine, New Hampshire, different places up east, and then talking to some groups out in California. I heard the same request from everyone. Our biggest concern for this year of 2009 is, where do we find our volunteers? And they just were questioning, how can we find volunteers? How can we replace them? How can we meet the needs of all of those that we serve when we are shorthanded? That many of our volunteers have had to go back to work, or they've gone on to other things in their life. And we got to talking, and I decided that I would do some research and provide a resource to you this week that I think will give you some tools that you can go to your board with, that I think that might change the picture and bring you the help you need in a very spectacular way. Here's what I have for you: a report on finding replacement paid volunteers for those volunteers that you don't have. There are many reasons that we go into in the report that have to do with why we don't have the volunteers today in 2009 that we did in the 1980s and 1990s. But we have to remember that as each one of us age every year, the baby boomers that were the 40 to 60-year-olds back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s are today 60 and 70 years old. And we also know that as their lives have changed, their seasons of life have changed. Many of them have had to retire. Some have even died. Some have gone on to have to do other things, just like my wife and I at age 61 have adopted our grandson this past year. So we're parents all over again at 61. But you know, no matter what the reason, there are many other reasons that have caused this paradigm shift. One, we have aborted our whole generation. And as that abortion hole in our community exist, it means that we don't have 25 to 37-year-olds to serve in our centers because they were all aborted. And we're way below replenishment rate, as you well know, and so our nation is in a holding pattern trying to figure out itself, and I think we're seeing the decline of the once great America. I think we're watching it just like old Greece fell apart as the great Roman Empire fell. I believe America is in its days of falling here near the coming of the Lord. But you know, it still says for us that are working in nonprofit volunteerism type ministries, we must replace those that we don't have to help us do the job that we have in front of us. And so I wanted you to think about how you might think outside the box and start thinking about hiring that volunteer instead of asking her to volunteer. A couple of things that could happen. One, it gives people more reason to donate to your ministry. Secondly, it takes someone who may have been a person going through your after-abortion class, or perhaps came to you for parenting, or came to you for a sonogram, and has been so helped by your center. She wants to help you, but she needs the income to just be able to make it. And because so many people have been forced to go to work in this bad economy, you know, it just stands to reason that we may have to hire these people instead of just simply ask them to volunteer. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just go ahead and click the link right here underneath my picture and get today's free report. Finding those volunteers, how to replace them. And I want you to share this report with your board. I want you to share it with other center directors, because I believe All of us are going through this challenge. And I believe this is a possible answer. So get the free report, won't you? And then let me hear from you, and let me hear what you think of our Monday Minute and how we might help your center with coaching, with websites, with helping you overcome some of the problems that your center faces every day. Until we meet again next week when I bring you another Monday Minute, this is your friend and advocate, Ken Freeman, reminding you, keep up the good work you're doing. You are making a difference, and the other side just can't stand it.